Morning, welcome back to another video. This one is for a Super Nintendo game, the second one I picked up quite recently, since getting back into the SNES just over a few weeks ago. And this is another one, much like the previous one, which was Demon's Crest, for anyone who hasn't seen it, which can be quite pricey. Now, in saying that, not as pricey as Demon's Crest. You're looking around about $70 for that one. This one was $35, but it can go for a little bit more. But similarly, can also go for a little bit less. I think inadvertently I might have shown it there. So without further ado, as the YouTube cliche goes, let's show you what it is. It's called Realm. Now, it's essentially a 2D side-scrolling shooter, which is one of my favourite genres. And curiously, this one is from 1996, so it's one of the late titles that came out. Possibly even the last title, I don't know for certain. But yeah, being in 1996, one of the last without question. And all I can say about this game, visually it looks fantastic. The sound is amazing. It's got a really addictive kind of theme song, you know, running away in the background, particularly on the first level anyway. And you'll get to hear that in a second, because after this video finishes, or after this part of me talking, this segment, I'm going to put up some gameplay so you can watch it, you can listen to it, see what you think. I mean, I really like it, but you might not. But the one thing I will say is it is really tough. I mean, really, really rock hard. One of the most difficult games I've ever played in my life. And it can be pretty frustrating, but at the same time, that's a challenge. So, you know, if you're thinking of getting it, and for the sake of $35, give or take, I would recommend it. Now, despite only going for around about $35, as I keep saying, it's one of those games which is quite hard to come by, boxed and complete, which this is. I won't take everything out, just it is boxed and complete. But, and I don't quite understand that, you know, even though it's quite rare to get hold of, the price isn't that expensive. Obviously, $35 is more expensive than the average box SNES game, which is, you know, some of the cheaper ones you can get for like $5 or $10. So, yeah, it's a weird one. So if I were you, I'd snap this up straight away. Because as we always see with consoles and computers, well, particularly consoles over computers, but games which came out, you know, right at the end of the system's lifespan are usually the ones which go for, you know, a lot of money in the future. And, you know, this came out in 1996, like I say, so it's been around a while. I think it's kind of, I don't know, maybe stayed under the radar. Not a lot of people are aware of it, so you may want to check it out. But yeah, nothing else to say. As you can see on the front there, he says, after saying nothing else to say, there is a bit of sticker damage, which is a bit of a shame, you know, and there's a bit of a, if I was to remove this sticker there, you probably can't see, but let me just turn the corner over a little bit, and it reveals quite a bit of damage, so I've just kind of kept that there for now. It's not the end of the world, because like I say, it is very difficult to track down box complete and in good condition. If you take away the sticker residue and a little bit of damage to it there, then the rest of the sides of the box, as I always like to do, you know, the rest of the sides of the box are in fantastic condition. You know, it's just the usual kind of very slight shelf wear on the corners. But yeah, brilliant condition. So, like I say, gonna show a bit of gameplay, see what you think of it. And yeah, I really like it, but it is very, very hard. See you later. Right then, so Realm, 1996 as you can see on the screen, but curiously the box says 1994. It's not a bootleg or anything like that, it's just weird. Now I have had that in the past with games and CDs where it has come out one year, but the box or case says something else. Few and far between, but it does happen every now and again. And I've no idea why, but yeah, 1996 as you can see. Now in the background, the music is starting to play. You can probably still hear it, but if you can't, don't worry, because right at the end of the video, the game goes back to this screen, the menu screen, so you can listen to it in all its glory. Now, graphics aside, another thing I'm really impressed with, you know, going back to the Super Nintendo and coming back to it after the first time in 20 years. Well, actually, let me take that back straight away. Nearly 20 years is when I first got it, but then I bought another one in the late 90s. Now, I didn't actually get back into it in the late 90s. You know, I mean, I bought one, but I tried to play it, I tried to get into it, but I just couldn't. There was something about it, and I think in hindsight, you know, maybe it was because it was too soon since it had been, you know, finished as a console. Because I think the last game came out in, well, when was it, around about 97 for the SNES? And there's me trying to get into it in 99. I think I tried a little bit too soon. And what I found is waiting, you know, an extra 10 years, 11, 12 years since 99. You know, I found that I've definitely got the appreciation back again for it. And I'm really enjoying it now. But like I say, what I really love is the sound. And I'd just forgotten how good it is. I mean, either that or maybe because, you know, because I've been away from it for so long, I can appreciate it that little bit more. Or maybe even on top of that, perhaps it's the fact that it's a later game. Now this one came out in 1996, so it's definitely one of the later SNES games, and maybe by this time, you know, the developers had actually got used to the capabilities when it comes to, you know, maximising the best sound from it, you know, utilising all the options to them. So, or maybe it's a combination of all them three reasons, but what I do know is that when I was looking for this game, you know, on Google and checking out gameplay features on YouTube, the one thing that people kept saying, apart from, you know, it's a really difficult game, which I'll come to in a minute, and aside from the fact that it looks really good, was the sound and how, you know, atmospheric it is. And, I mean, there's an argument to say whether the music kind of fits it or not, I don't know. But maybe it's a time now for me to let some of the music play, see what you think about it. I'll keep it on for around about 30-60 seconds. I do like it, but, you know, it's subjective and we all like different stuff. But have a listen, like I say, 30-60 seconds, and see what you think of it. So that was around about a minute's worth of the in-game music. Now, I don't know what you think, even if you're telling me. I can't hear you, of course. You're going to have to tell me in person, or in a PM, or in a reply. Anyway, I digress. No, I like it. I don't know what you think of it, but I'm not sure whether it actually suits the game. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but I like it nonetheless. And especially, I don't know if you picked up on it, but that kind of thumping bass beat. And check this out, I mean, just the graphics as well, the change in weather. There's a little bit of a skip in the gameplay there because I edited a bit out when I was doing rubbish. And I didn't want that in there, obviously. But yeah, the weather effects, I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic with the rain and the wind, and definitely sets the scene. And I don't know, it works for me. And I was really impressed when I saw it. Even just a little, you know, the pitter-patter there of the old rain hitting the floor, it just looks really good. Now, these things which I'm going to be shooting in a second, it's essentially a way of recharging your energy. You'll see on the left-hand side of the screen the little shields, and that is representing your energy. And when you shoot these things, these little balls of energy, I guess, come out, and eventually they replenish, as you can see, like I say, on the left-hand side. Now, another one of the things I like about this game is the fact that there are quite a few weapons. Now, I've not encountered a lot so far, but I know there's at least 9 in the game. There's a default one, which isn't particularly good, and I think that's the one I'm using now on screen. And this is usually as a result of using this one when you run out of your other 2 primary weapons. And you can carry 2 at any one time, but when you go to collect one, make sure that you switch to the one that you don't want to use, because otherwise it just overrides the one you're currently using. And that can be particularly frustrating if you've collected a really good, useful gun, only for it to be automatically replaced by something rubbish. So like I say, just switch weapons, and that's easily done by literally just pressing the X button. Now this game doesn't just contain aspects of 2D platforming and shooting, it also has elements of the puzzle factor to it. As I'm doing now, you know, you've got to hit the levers at the right time, you've got to figure out where to jump, and it can be immensely frustrating. And that ties in with the fact that this is, without question, mainly because I can't think of an alternative off the top of my head, but I think this is pretty much, without question, the hardest game I've ever played. Now, I'm not sure if I'm maybe confusing the hardest with most frustrating, maybe a combination of both, but without doubt, this is really, really hard, and it's kind of funny playing something like this, and then playing a current-gen game. Current-gen games are so easy these days, it's ridiculous. You know, even if it is a difficult game, you've got the checkpoints to help you along the way, but something like this, I mean, honestly, you lose a life on this and you are back to the start of the level more often than not. as is going to happen on this, which is why I end the gameplay where I do. So it's a really hard game, but I really do think you've got to get it. I think the sound's fantastic, the weather effects, the graphics look absolutely amazing, and you can definitely tell it's a late 1996 release, or a late release, I should say, from 96 in the Super Nintendo's life. So it comes highly recommended. It's probably going to get pricier as the years go by, so now's possibly the best time to get it. Comes highly recommended, but believe me, if you want a challenge, you've got to get this game, because it is infuriating, stroke difficult, stroke challenging, but it definitely comes highly recommended, and it's just a shame I couldn't do the video for longer. But like I say, it's such a hard game that it just would have been repeating myself, and that wouldn't really have made great viewing. But anyway, go out and buy the game. If you've got a SNES, you won't regret it, but, and I really want to emphasise this once again, this is not an easy game. It's very, very tough. See you later.